All right, but you've probably seen this video from the Coldplay concert of CEO Andy Byrons, and we should say his name, of a company called Astronomer, and a lady that he was being intimate with at this Coldplay concert by the name of Kristen Cabot. Of course, not his wife. If you haven't seen this video yet, it's going thermonuclear viral right now. Watch this.
Yeah. Oh, look at these two. All right, come on. You're okay? Oh, what? Either they're having an affair or they're just very shy.
So here's essentially the facts, and I have a lot of thoughts on this. So they were doing a funny kiss cam in between songs. They found a couple in the stands who was cozied up to each other, and as soon as the camera hit them, they both freaked out. As you saw, the guy ducked down below the camera, and she walked away out of shame. It's a very important word, shame. We're going to dive into this. Now, the lead singer of Coldplay, Chris Martin, goes, oh, they're probably either having an affair or they're incredibly shy. And turns out Chris Martin was right. They were having an affair. Andy Byrons, the CEO of the company, and the lady of the head of HR, Kristen Cabot, of the tech company. So Byron has a wife and 2 teenage sons. His wife has now taken her last name off of Facebook. So there's a ton of material here. The first of which is as soon as the camera was put on them, their behavior changed. Why? Well, because their sin was being made public. That's why. Because they actually knew what they were doing was wrong. If Eric and I would be at a Coldplay concert, which I would be rather caught dead than be at a Coldplay concert. I would rather go to a WNBA game than go to a Coldplay concert. Couldn't think of something more boring and banal and a waste of time. But it's fine. It's a free society. You do whatever you want. But if Eric and I went to a Coldplay concert and they showed us on the video camera, I guess we would smile. I'd be more worried that a lib would come and yell at me, but it wouldn't be embarrassing. But isn't it interesting? They knew what they were doing was wrong. And when sins are allowed to happen in the shadows, you act a certain way. But all of a sudden, if you feel as if, or if you know you are being watched, your behavior changes. Now, let me just first talk about adultery. We need to make adultery shameful again. Way too many people cheat on their spouses. We put up with this way too much in our society. Adultery should be shamed not because we are cruel, but because it tears at the very fabric that holds families and communities together. It's not a private matter. It leaves children wounded, spouses betrayed, and society more cynical about love, loyalty, and commitment. If we truly believed in God, an all-seeing holy judge who calls us to righteousness, we wouldn't treat adultery as a mistake, but as a violation of sacred vows made before him. We should confront it with the gravity that it deserves. That is a breaking of the covenant and done so publicly. But it gets even deeper than this. This Byron guy, let me say his name again because he deserves to be totally shamed. This guy is a complete disgrace. Let me see. What is this guy's name? Byron. It was all the way up here. Andy Byron is his name. Yeah, Andy Byrons or Andy Byron. Andy Byron deserves to be shamed. Because not only did he cheat on his wife in public, but he did so in a work relationship in a company that he oversees. And you see in the video, they both dash away. How would you behave if you felt that somebody was always watching you? What would you do if you felt as if you were always being watched? Well, that's how we Christians should behave. Because we believe that God is always watching us, that God is always judging us. What you saw on full display, it's far deeper than, by the way, the memes are hilarious. They deserve to just be totally their reputation should be wrecked. They should have to repent. These people are like the lowest of the low. To go to a Coldplay concert when you have 2 teenage boys at home and you have a wife, it's low. But let's go even deeper. How would you act if you felt as if you were on camera and somebody was watching your behavior? When you think about it, that is completely indistinguishable than what we actually believe as Christians. We as Christians believe that there is a holy God that is watching us. Do you know that there have been studies to show that in an operating room, for example, if they even put 2 eyes up on the wall, that people's behavior changes, people treat each other better. If people think they are being watched, and I'm not arguing for a surveillance state, I'm talking about the moral. Do you believe that there is a God that looks at everything that you do? Andy Byron and his chief HR chief, that makes it even worse, his HR chief, Kristen Cabot, did not believe that there was a God always watching them. But as soon as the world decided to look at them, they went away in shame. Everybody, the lesson is this. For any of you, and for us that are dealing with sins, should it take the rest of the world to publicly see us to change our behavior? Or should it necessarily be enough that we believe there is a God that is looking at us? What makes it even worse is all the people that were in the box alongside of it. There were people in the box, there was something called like the chief people officer or something. This guy ran a heck of a company, I got to tell you. And they were quietly signing off on this. This is the second lesson. Are you quietly signing off on somebody else's sin? Are you quietly signing off on somebody else's adultery? Are you in your life? I'm not here to shame you. I'm here to try to lift you to a better place. Do you know somebody that is committing adultery right now? And are you covering up for it? Do you know it? Well, stop doing that. Stop being friends with people that commit adultery.
In an instant, these families lost everything. The International Fellowship of Christians and Jews is on the ground to provide food and shelter and emergency supplies.
An emergency gift of $45 will help thousands of elderly and families with desperately needed food.
Her whole body is bruised and wounded, and it's very clear that Zelda is in no condition to find ways to get food.
Food is critical, and so is shelter from attack. The Israeli government has asked the fellowship to urgently place 1,000 mobile bomb shelters.
My friends, the destruction is unprecedented. Please act now.
And adultery is without a doubt one of the least talked about of the 10 Commandments. You shall have no other gods before me. You shall have no idols. You shall not take the Lord's name in vain, or you shall not carry the Lord's name in vain. You shall remember the Sabbath day and keep it holy. I have an entire book coming out on this. You shall honor your mother, so you may live long in the land of which you are in. You shall not steal. You shall not, I think the seventh is actually adultery. You shall not take adultery. You shall not give false testimony. You shall not steal. You shall not give false testimony. Thou shalt not covet. Thou shalt not murder. That's out of order, but that is the 10. Out of the 10, though, adultery is one of the least talked about. We've kind of decided to put up with it. Oh, it's okay, it's fine. Their marriage is falling apart. No, that is a covenantal relationship between your spouse and God. What makes a contract different than a covenant? A covenant does not have an end date. A covenant is within 3 parties. A contract's within 2 parties. A covenant is that within before God. A covenant is a triangular relationship. A contractual relationship is just a horizontal relationship. Covenantal involves something vertical. And Andy Byron and his HR chief, Kristen Cabot, some people say, give them their privacy. No. If you cheat on your wife, you should not be given privacy. And for all of us that are married, we should know that this would be the downfall of everything that is beautiful and good if you decide to do something as horrendous and unspeakably immoral as that. Apparently, there's text groups and chains of former employees. Everyone's laughing their tail off and enjoying the heck out of what happened and him getting exposed. But honestly, imagine how difficult this is for his wife right now. What he just did to his wife is sick. He deserves, he has to own up for that, not make excuses, and I think he's been totally silent on this. So, the memes are just hilarious right now. I could read it. And by the way, we should make fun of this. This is one of the few things that has united the internet. And honestly, it's given me a little bit of hope in humanity. Do you know why? Even the internet, in all of its wretched, disgusting secularism that has infected the internet, even the internet agrees that adultery is wrong. When it is exposed, even the internet agrees that that portion of the 10 Commandments is wrong. No, everyone's making fun of them. Good, you should. Everyone is shaming them. You absolutely should. And by the way, if he asks for forgiveness, that's a whole separate bridge to cross. It better be. First of all, there's only one person he has to ask for forgiveness from. That's from his wife, and we'll see what happens. I think they've already filed for divorce. There's a lot of fake news around this, by the way. Is there someone, Cabot and, Cabot, the HR director, and Thornby filed for divorce in 2018, then split in 2022, according to Massachusetts. Somebody says, and I just love this, Coldplay hasn't made a single in years. Last night, they made 2. I think that's hilarious. I didn't come up with that. By the way, I find Coldplay music very hard to listen to, but that's a whole separate. I'm not here to bash on Coldplay. In fact, honestly, Coldplay has just done something very good for humanity, much better than other unlistenable music. It's much better than that. And you know what it is? What Coldplay has done is Coldplay has united the internet, that even though we can't agree on so many of the controversial social issues and social topics, that we can agree that you shall not cheat on your spouse, that you shall not commit adultery. And guess what? Andy Byron and Kristen Cabot knew that. Let's just rewatch that video one more time. Rewatch the video, how quickly they scatter away from the camera. Watch. You see how quickly they scatter away from the camera, and the other girl is like, oh my goodness, I can't believe it. They know. How many of you right now are involved in a repeated secret sin that you would go like that if it was made public? Not too late to repent. Not too late to stop it. How many of you guys would act like that if all of a sudden your spouse walked in and you were doing something, or they found out that you were violating a covenant? Don't do that. Let this be a lesson that, yes, we should delight in the fun, humorous moment here. But this is wrong. How would you act if all of a sudden you would end up on a Jumbotron? Act in a way that you could smile when you go up on a Jumbotron in front of 20,000 people. Not that you have to run away in shame. God bless you guys. Get our latest shirt, the Rush Was Right shirt, our Charlie Kirk store. Make sure you guys get involved with Turning Point USA at tpusa.com. Start a high school or college chapter today at tpusa.com. And do me a favor, hit the subscribe bell. Do you know that vast majority of people that watch this channel are not subscribed to our channel? Well, change that. Hit the subscribe button and put a comment below. Do you think I'm right? Do you think that adultery should be uplifted, that adultery should be defended, or should we shame those that commit adultery? Don't do it. And I'm sure there's a lot of people that have been cheated on in this audience. It's a real sick thing. So I want to hear from you in the comments. God bless you guys. Have a great weekend. Talk to you soon.